Good morning, friends. I hope you all are fine in this pandemic situation. Let us go through what we have studied in the last lectures about romantic age. Romantic age is nothing but a synonym of romantic era and romanticism. It is an artistry, literary, musical, and intellectual movement which originated in Europe. Okay, then we studied etymologically what does it mean. Then period in which time period was it was there, that is in the end of 18th century. Okay, then we studied about its feature. In that, first feature is imagination. Okay, then the second one is emotions, the third one is back to nature, and the fourth one is uh, view of nature, how one views the nature, and that too in a different way by poets. Okay, then comes early romantic poetries. In that, we studied four types of poetry. The first one is pastoral poetry, then nature poetry, then oceanic poetry, and graveyard poetry. Then we studied about Gothic novels. In that, we studied that it has a taste of mysteriousness, and to create this taste, okay, the writers of Gothic novels have the situations like that, and even the background will be mysterious. Okay, and it is said that lastly, the fear of trump of evil over good. Okay, so good always wins in this type of poetries, sorry, novels. Okay, then we came up to different famous writers or poets of romantic age. In that, the first one was William Wordsworth. He is considered as the first romantic poet along with Coleridge. Okay, we have discussed something about it. Now we come to Samuel Taylor Coleridge. We stopped here. Samuel Taylor Coleridge was born in Devonshire in 1772. He was sent first to Christ Hospital School and then to Cambridge, where he never graduated. He was influenced by French revolutionary ideas, but after the disillusionment, he and the poet Southey planned to establish a utopian community in Pennsylvania under the name of Pentecostocracy, but the project came to nothing. Okay, he was born in Devonshire in 1772, and he was sent for primary education in Christ Hospital School and later to Cambridge, but he never graduated. He was influenced by French Revolution. Okay, and he founded a utopian community with one of his friend Southey, who is also a great poet. Okay, but the project came to nothing. In 1797, he met his best friend, that is William Wordsworth, and he settled in Somerset. In these years, he wrote The Rime of Ancient Mariner, that is the first poem of lyrical ballads, Christabel and Kubla Khan, which were the unfinished poems of his life. Okay, in 1799 he moved to the Lake District, and then he spent a period of solitude in Malta. In 1817 he settled in London, where he produced Biographia Literaria. He died in 1834. It is said that he was addicted to opium. Opium means uh, one type of drug only. Okay, so he was addicted to it, and due to that he had a bad effect on his mind, and due to that he was not able to finish his poetries, and due to that this Christabel and Kubla Khan are remain unfinished. Okay, in 1799 he moved to the Lake District. Okay, and he spent a period of solitude there. In 1817 he settled in London, where he produced Biographia Literaria. Biographia Literaria is one of the um, book in which he gave one of the best critical theories of his time, and that is imagination theory. Okay, theory of imagination. He died in 1834. Now let us go with the theory of imagination which he gave. Okay, a brief idea of what is the critical theory of Coleridge. Imagination for Coleridge is very important, and he divided into two kinds. First is primary imagination, means what? Everyone has this imagination unconsciously, uh, and this type of imagination always exists in the mind of a person. Okay, let it be a simple man or a poetic man or any other man. Okay, while the secondary imagination, it is consciously you have a imagination and that you portray in a poetry. So he said that through this imagination only the reality, one has the capability uh, to get this imagination, uh, create a poem and present it before the spectators. Okay, fancy is the mechanical ability the poet have to use device in order to express his ideas. It is the way the poet can communicate his ideas and vision to everybody. The fanciness, okay, fanciness means something different from the common people or common idea. Okay, that creates a good impact, and through this only one can express his or her ideas into the poetry, and that will create a new vision to everyone. Coleridge didn't view nature as a moral guide or as a source of consolation and happiness. He saw nature and the material world as the reflection of the perfect world of ideas. William Wordsworth was the one who uh, think that nature gives happiness, while Coleridge was totally different from him. Okay, he thought that, or he saw the nature and the material world as a reflection of perfect world of ideas. In his poem, Coleridge used archaic language, alliteration, repetition, and onomatopoeias. Now, these are some of the figures of speech, that is, alliteration, repetition, and onomatopoeias. Onomatopoeias means sound, the sounds which are uh, written in the poem. Okay. The Rime of the Ancient Mariner is a poem made up of 7 parts and is a set of boundless sea. Okay, the uh, what to say, the surrounding. Okay, the surrounding of the poem. Okay, it is set in a sea. Okay, and it is divided into 7 parts. It is introduced by an argument containing a short summary of the poem. The atmosphere is full of mystery due to the presence of supernatural and common place. It is the thing that Coleridge always uses supernatural elements in his poetry. So in this poetry also he introduces the poetry through an argument. Okay, and uh, um, atmosphere is full of mystery due to the supernatural elements present in the poem. The characters are the mariner, who is both a spectator and an actor. Okay, a mariner is the uh, character which is portrayed in this poem. Okay, he is both a spectator and an actor, and his mates whose sorrow represents the human one. The poem contains many of the features associated to ballads, as the use of dialogue and narration, the 4 line stanzas, the repetition, the alliteration, and the internal rhymes, and the themes of travel, wandering, and supernatural elements. There are different interpretation of the poem: description of a dream and allegory of the life of soul, description of the poetic journey of romanticism. The mariner is the poet who feels guilty for the loss of innocence caused by the industrial revolution and tries to fill it with poetry. Okay, in this mariner is there, and he has shot a bird. Okay, and due to this the sorrowness is in the atmosphere, and this creates many uh, description of now this is the description of his imagination also. Okay, here it is the allegory of life. Okay, allegory means the sorrowness. Okay, and the description of poetic journey of romanticism means what? Due to industrial revolution, what all things humans are facing. Okay, day by day we have seen that the person is being devoid of emotions, feelings. Okay, so this all things are being showed or portrayed in his poetry, The Rime of Ancient Mariner. Now comes P.B. Shelley, Percy Bysshe Shelley. Percy Shelley was born in 1792 by a wealthy family. Okay, he was born in a very well-to-do family, that is wealthy family, in 1792. In 1810, he was expelled from Oxford University because of his pamphlet, The Necessity of Atheism. Okay, he was expelled. Expelled means he was uh, thrown out from the Oxford University for one of his pamphlets. At the age of 19, he got married and he moved to Ireland. Okay, at a very young age, he married and he went to Ireland. He was a free spirit, refused social conventions and tyranny, and he believed in a better future. Okay, he was very rebellious and he always thought of better future. He died in Italy in 1822. His best works are Ode to West Wind, To a Skylark, Prometheus Unbound, Adonis, and A Defense of Poetry. Okay, all these are his famous or best works. The main themes of Shelley's poetry are freedom and love because they are the solution to the evils of society. The main theme portrayed in his poetry were freedom and love because he thought these are only the solutions for which the evils are being presented in the society. Only this thing can create a full stop in all these evils. Okay, the poetry is the expression of imagination and it is able to change the material world unable to change. In this way, the poet can only suffer isolate from the world, finding comfort in hope. Okay, he thinks that uh, only hope can be there. Okay, and through hope only everything would be fine. The poet is both a prophet and a hero who has to help mankind to reach an ideal world full of freedom, love, and beauty. The nature is the place where to escape from the ordinary world. It is a veil that hides the eternal truth of the divine spirit. Shelley in his poetry used a wide range of style, but he is remembered for his short lyric poem. He has written many of the literary works, but he is more famous, okay, or most famous for his short lyrical poem. Then comes Lord Byron. George Gordon Byron, the sixth Baron Byron, uh, known simply as Lord Byron, was a British poet, peer, and politician who became a revolutionary in Greek War of Independence. Okay, he was a politician even, and along with that, he was a British poet, and is considered one of the leading figures of Romantic movement. He is considered as uh, a leading figure, okay, in the Romantic movement which developed in the Romantic age. He is regarded as one of the greatest British poet and remains widely read and influential. Okay, he was one of the greatest in British poets, and he is the most learned, or we can say his poetries were most learned. Okay, among his best known works are the lengthy narrative poems Dungeon and Child's Herald Pilgrimage. Many of his shorter lyric is Hebrew melodies also became popular. His Dungeon poem is all time favorite for any literary or we can say any literary lover person. Byron's magnum opus Dungeon, a poem spanning 17 cantos, ranks as one of the most important uh, long poems published in England since John Milton's Paradise Lost. Okay, after John Milton's Paradise Lost, Dungeon is the only poem which is long narrative poem of 17 cantos. It is very popular after Paradise Lost. The poem, often called the epic of its time, has roots deep in literary tradition and although regarded by early Victorians as somewhat shocking, equally involves itself with its own contemporary world at all levels, that is social, political, literary, and ideological. This poem was at that time considered as an epic one, okay, and as it is considered as epic, it has a divine power in it, okay. All the person were seeing as a divine work. In addition to its biting satire, the poem is funny. Okay, along with satire, uh, the poem is also have a comic sense in it. Byron published the first two cantos anonymously in 1819 after disputes with his regular publisher over the shocking nature of poetry. Okay, first he published only first two cantos in 1819. By this time, he had been a famous poet for several years, and when he uh, self published the beginning cantos, they were well received in some quarters. Okay, after that he released one after the other cantos. It was then released volume by volume through his regular publishing house. By 1822, cautious acceptance of the public by the public had turned the outrage, and Byron's publisher refused to continue the publish the works. In Canto 3 of Dungeon, Byron expresses his detestation for poets such as William Wordsworth and Samuel Taylor Coleridge. In letters to Francis Houghton, Byron referred to Wordsworth and Tudsworth. Okay, later on, due to his rebelliousness, okay, he was considered uh, rebellious, and due to that his publisher uh, told that he will not publish his other works, and due to that he has to face many other problems. Even in his dungeon, he has expressed his grudge feeling for Wordsworth and Coleridge. Even he uh, referred Wordsworth as Tudsworth. Okay, so he was very rebellious one. Okay, so this is all for today, and we will meet in the next lecture continuing this, and in the next lecture I will complete this romantic age for sure. Okay, don't forget to revise all the things every day. Okay, and don't forget to comment your name and roll number in the comment section. Thank you, and see you in the next lecture.